Didn't lead to any makeout sessions. Certainly, but it led to this career and a love of sandwiches.
All right. Well, now we're getting into our interview with Dan Bartlett.
Everybody, Dan Bartlett, the director here.
Hello.
The curator.
Curator of exhibits.
Curator.
Yeah.
Dan Bartlett is here. So tell us about the name of the exhibit and how it came to be.
Well, this is the educational portion of the show.
Okay. Grab a drink.
But we thank you all for coming, and thank especially you and Emily for coming. But here at the Elmhurst History Museum, we always try to find a story with local roots that kind of resonates across the Chicagoland area because we're so well located on the railroad line. We're so world famous that people want to come here. So we were looking for something light to talk about in the summer, and we started to talk about food. Portillo's, of course, is you could throw a rock from here to the first Portillo's in Villa Park, and some of the. And I think that's what really started us thinking about an exhibit about food, and then we start to think about, well, if we look across Chicago, what are the foods that really are Chicago foods? What are our foods? Chicago-style hot dog, giardiniera, rainbow cones, the Italian beef sandwiches, some of these things that you really don't find outside of the Midwest. And so we thought we'd put this little exhibit together, and it's been really fun and popular, and a lot of people are coming, and a lot of people are learning about good food.
Well, really, we're talking about large cutouts of hot dogs and beefs and giardiniera and all this stuff, but really you have to come and lay eyes on it here yourself just to get, an appreciation. It really is so well done, and it's evocative of, the Chicago food history, with from the font usage to everything. And it's, truly like a wonderful experience here that you gotta come here to believe. This is not like go on the Google view and walk in here and get a good, on the website. You have to come here.
It was really hard to focus in because, of course, we don't have a lot of space. And there are so many other foods that are associated with Chicago that, get like one or two mentions.
Yeah.
It was really kind of hard to settle on the big 3 or 4.
I know. How did you boil it? Because I know there's a couple probably. I mean, you could probably make this triple the size. I'm happy to see rainbow cone because my Aunt Fran and Aunt Catherine, I remember, they used to pick us up and they drive us through Lower Wacker Drive when it was green lights down there.
Yeah.
And to us, it was like a teleportation to the south side to Rainbow Cone, and then you're driving. I mean, being a kid and being in their car, and we loved spending time with our aunts. They spoiled us rotten, and this was just one of the many things they did. But it was like Star Trek. You're going through a time portal, and then you obviously a couple more highways, and then you get this Rainbow Cone, which is 7 flavors.
I remember eating it in like the parking lot,
yeah,
like on the car, like just like I can remember it like it was yesterday. It was probably after we saw like Sister Act 2 or something.
Probably Sister Act 1.
Yeah,
of course, right. But yeah, I loved seeing that Rainbow Cone. What like if you could fit another 1,000 square feet here, what would be the first choice next to all this stuff?
Oh boy, chicken Vesuvio and what's the Puerto Rican dish? Hibaritos. Yeah, I fell in love with those when I was living in the city. I would like to have expanded our section on giardiniera. Yeah.
Like more provisions,
giardiniera.
More on like the top.
Maybe me holding. Maybe me me on the pedestal like the cardboard cutout. But like laying sideways, kind of sexy, but like not super suggestive.
Well, you
like a young Kevin Bacon.
You could have been
cut out of.
You could have been dead center in the wall of giardiniera, but you'll see that there are 16-ounce jars on the wall there, and almost everybody has the same size 16-ounce jar, but the outliers at the bottom are different sizes. So we started at the top and we went alphabetical with the proper size jar of giardiniera, and then we put the problem people.
The problem children.
I was wondering why we were on the bottom.
I know.
So now imagine M in an appropriately sized jar of giardiniera, and right in the middle of the thing.
You know what I did that, and that was an intentional, much like all the custom cuts in our giardiniera, that are cut to my certain specifications. Thank you very much. That's what we do in Elmhurst here. That's how we take care of each other. But I that was strategic. The 16 ounce, where I know, I mean, we all grew up with that size.
Yeah.
Sometimes in modern fridges, it's hard to fit into the door, especially when you usually have 3 or 4 of them because they're too tall. So this is very universal. Everybody else is wrong. We're right. Get them off the damn shelf. I hate you. Yeah. Do you think Orlando's coming in here doing a live podcast? What about Recanto? He ain't coming in here. Dick has certainly ain't.
60 jars of giardiniera when the exhibit's over. But I am very excited to try yours, the honey.
Honey J. Oh no, we'll make sure we get you one.
In the course of going through the exhibit, of course, a lot of people have mild or hot, back your head off. But it didn't seem like anybody but Moral Provisions was the basics of giardiniera in that way, and so I'm
just the tip of the
You don't have
iceberg.
to give me one. I'll take this one
No,
because I got to figure out what to do with 60 jars.
No,
of
they have a
giardiniera
great
when
shelf life on them.
Yeah.
I love the representation too. Like you see the pork chops and the Polish too. I mean, that's like another kind of unsung hero that we know that doesn't get the national exposure. Have you seen the bear yet?
I have watched a few of the first episodes. Yeah,
because I mean, this is what a perfect time to have an exhibit like this because of the Italian beef and the exposure the bear has brought to it,
Right.
and giardiniera is confusing as that setting of the bear can be for Italian beef culture.
Very emotional.
Very emotional, very intense watch. It has really kind of put it on a pedestal nationally.
Right. Yeah,
have you seen anybody coming in here because of the bear?
No one that I've talked to in the gallery has come in because of the bear, but I did talk to somebody from the LA Times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was about Italian beef. He grew up in Elmwood Park, but
oh, really? What's his name?
I knew you were going to ask me, and I can't remember.
Oh, let's call him Tommy.
Tommy from Elmwood Park.
Tommy Luca the Brigidi.
Yeah.
No, but he's that's good. At least they called upon you, right? Because you feel like you have obviously a greater knowledge. Could you call yourself an authority on Chicago food at this point? After the research? No, there's not enough time.
No, not enough time.
What was the hardest thing? I assume you tried all the places on display.
First of all, in the interest of full disclosure, I'm a Wisconsin boy.
All right, thank you guys for watching. Come on over now. Get the hell out. No.
And so I actually moved from Wisconsin here and moved into the city to take this job in Elmhurst. So,
you're off the boat.
Yeah, I am off the boat, literally. And so we're having these meetings. We're talking about an Italian beef. We're talking about giardiniera. In fact, I couldn't even. I was giardiniera. I couldn't pronounce it.
Second
one
worst.
of those. Oh Lord.
Get you a shirt too and some honey, G. How about that?
So I dive into the research on the exhibit, and for example, there was one day I was reading about the history of sausages, and I had a meeting with the folks at Vienna Beef, who've been very good supporters of the exhibit. And I went in and I met with the marketing guy, and we talked about hot dogs. And I came back and started to write exhibit text and look at pictures of hot dogs. And at 2:00 in the afternoon, I had to go over to Jewel and buy a pack of Vienna beef hot dogs and some buns and some mustard. And I ate 3 of them in the basement.
Jules.
Oh wow.
Jules. See, I'm off the boat. Yeah.
Here we go.
But the same thing, and my wife could always tell what part of the exhibit I was on because, I come home talking about I had to have a deep dish pizza or I had to, get an Italian beef sandwich. And
it's like, woe is me, right?
Yeah.
Wah.
It was rough.
What was the best thing? So, I love it. I think that's actually a benefit that you came from somewhere else because I think with all of us here that grew up, we all have, we love the hot dogs, the beef, the pizza we grew up eating, and we have a deep connection to that. You kind of came in without that relationship that was forged super early on, so you can almost be impartial. What was your, and without offending any of the sponsors here, what was your favorite eating experience out of all your research?
Probably the Italian beef at Bona.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and the exhibit really concentrates on Portillo's, Bona, Lou Malnati's, and Rainbow. And the question, it ends up sounding like it's some corporate-backed thing here, but the reason that we chose these companies, of course, Portillo's, as I mentioned, comes from Villa Park. We started casting around for other local businesses that were representative of these iconic Chicago foods, and of course, the Bona Company Bona Volanto started, not far away. And then, of course, Malnati's in Lincoln. Yeah. And of course, Lou Malnati's has had a restaurant in Elmhurst since 1992 or 93. And so there's not a lot of, there's nothing nefarious in choosing these particular companies, except for the fact that they're local. People in Elmhurst, the western suburbs, recognize them. But then they're also iconic champions of these brands. And one of the interesting things that came out of kind of comparing the research and their stories was that, and to show you what kind of a Wisconsin boy I am, I called it Portillo's when I got here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But it's a Spanish name. He's from Spain, right?
It's not.
It's Portillo.
Portillo.
So we're all wrong. You were the only one right.
Portillo. So Portillo, he has Portillo has a vision for bringing the hot dog from the city to the suburbs, and he's got a vision for what that experience is going to be like, and he focuses in on that and creates, of course, this hot dog pie. Moves way beyond hot dogs into Italian beef sandwiches and burgers and stuff very quickly. As soon as he starts to get brick and mortar restaurants, he and his wife's savings to start this business. They were looking for their family to create a business. They had a family recipe that goes back to very early in the history of Italian beef sandwiches, but they also had a vision for what the experience of eating was going to be. They didn't want a walk-up stand. They wanted a clean restaurant that a family could go to. And the same with the Malnati's. Lou Malnati is trying to bring the deep dish pizza from the city to the suburbs. And again, he's got a vision for what he wants this food to taste like every time in every restaurant, and that's typical of all three of these chains. And they are able to prosper in a way. They almost become ambassadors for these brands now as they start to grow out of the Midwest, with Portillo's around the country and Malnati spreading past the Midwest, and Bona across the suburbs. And these are companies that have gone on for decades. Bona Volanto's still run Bona, the Malnati family. Bona now partners with Rainbow Cone.
Yeah,
the same basic idea. Lynn Sapp looking for something that understood how important that original Rainbow Cone recipe is. And of course, the folks at Bona have that same kind of family. It made it kind of a nice, wrapped it all up into a nice bow of these stories of these families. I don't know if there are any other families that have started food company or provision companies with
Amaro Provisions. Yeah. We celebrate our 2-year anniversary. Yeah. Maybe not enough for the permanent wall, but well, I got a question for you. I got 2 questions for you. I need to know, as a Wisconsinite, now after this journey that you've done for the good of the land of Elmhurst, what is your Italian beef order and what is your pizza order specifically? And you will be judged.
Everybody says I should go to is it Johnny's in Elmwood Park?
Yeah.
That's good. I mean,
and I didn't, because I'm too intimidated by the ordering process.
They'll sniff you out.
Yeah.
If you show any fear, it's like dogs or bees in the guy running the register at Johnny's. They know if you're timid.
So my Italian beef order would be probably
next. Go ahead. Next, let's go.
A wet mild.
Wet mild.
Wow.
I don't think they have mild giardiniera at any beef stands. I think it's all hot.
No.
So you're out. You're out there.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
it's all right. No, that's I like the mild too on it, because you can really load it up and get all the crunch and the oil from it.
Yeah, and and I understand, and I love that Bona talks about their dipped version is baptized, and I get that, but I'm not there yet.
You're not there yet. It's
a
good.
lot.
I'm working up the ladder.
All right.
When I started the exhibit, it was dry.
Well,
baby steps.
Yeah.
I told you, these Wisconsin people, I'm like, what is going on? Can you secede already from the union? What about, Dan, what about your pizza order? A lot less stressful. You can do it anonymously online now. No, we're not judging you on this order. Tell us what kind of pizza and how you order it, please. for the people?
Well, I mean, this is one of the things in the exhibit. We have a section called the food fight, which is a ballot where you can vote on some of the key issues surrounding Chicago food. And of course, one of the key questions on that is whether the Chicago pizza is deep dish or tavern style. And that, of all of the topics, that seems to be the one that people want to fight about the most. My pizza would be a tavern style, green pepper and Italian sausage. And this is, I understand it's controversial as well, but I like a little fennel in my Italian sausage.
Okay. I like it too.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that order. Maybe I'd round it out with like triple pepperoni, but that's just me, and I'm not hijacking your order. That's a good.
I gotta defer to the wife on some of this. So
it's politics.
It's
all politics.
But as far as the question about whether Chicago's pizza is deep dish or tavern style, the balloting through the course of the exhibit is exactly 50-50.
Stop it.
I am not kidding. It has fluctuated 49-51 the last time I checked. Half the people are saying that they want tavern style and half a deep dish. But I cannot give credit to the person on the internet that I read this from, but I think there's something behind this too. Tavern style is the pizza you eat when you're on your way somewhere and you got to get something to eat, or it's 2:00 in the morning and you're on your way home from something and you got to get something to eat, or the game is on and you got to have something to eat. Deep dish is an event, because it takes so much longer to prepare for it. And so that's the we're going out to celebrate, mom's birthday, or we're going out, on a special occasion. And even the Malnati's talk about that when they opened their restaurant, how it became this kind of mecca for graduation parties and birthday parties and the like. So I think, and I've actually seen that in the voting, some people that will say, it depends on what I'm going to
event,
go
whether
do.
It's like a Friday night,
exactly,
normal pizza during any time of the year, which maybe the parents are going out dancing, getting dialed up,
That's right.
Spritzing on the juke and getting ready for a night out, and they order you a pizza, and the babysitter comes over. You're eating tavern style square cut,
right? Exactly.
Fighting over the end pieces.
And square cut is
right. It's a must. But I love that because big celebrations. We always we started going to Uno's, Two Ways, and then Malnati's took over. So I don't know, maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago or whatever. We started gravitating more towards that. But that's what I always argue with East Coasters about when it comes to Chicago pizza versus New York pizza, that it's not most New Yorkers eat that, they eat their pizza on the go off a soggy cheap paper plate. The pizza's been sitting in a window for God knows how long, and they reheat it, and then you take it for a couple bucks with a soda, and you take it to go. They call it soda. It's called pop here, right? Of course. Sorry to translate I know Wisconsin, you guys call it pop too.
Oh, yeah.
God bless you. That's at least we have that in common. We can cross the aisle on that one. So there, right? And it's like hasty and it's quick. And there's some really great slices of New York pizza. But in Chicago, it's always an event. And that's what I think separates us. Because the pizza, we rarely eat slices of pizza here. We only eat whole pizzas. And that pizza usually comes to your door, piping hot in a bag, sometimes a box, or you're sitting down with your loved ones. Right, with giant red tinted cups and pitchers of Diet Right, right? Maybe have pizza bread starters before pizza, cheese stick starters before pizza. But as long as you have a salad filled with pasta in it and bacon and blue cheese, the life's in balance, right? And I think that's what separates our wonderful city and our food culture, and that's why I think, especially with help of the Bear and exhibits like this, we've really solidified ourselves as the greatest culinary mecca in the country. And I can honestly say that because I spend literally 50% of my life in New York and New Jersey, and there's great food. I've lived in LA for 4 years. I travel there all the time. I go all over the world. There is no better food per capita, and it's so great to be highlighted in an exhibit, in like an official museum exhibit that should probably travel the world. Are you up for the task? Will you bring it to Cleveland?
I'm retiring at the end of October.
Great. And to that, everybody, please give Dan Bartlett a round of applause. Curator here at the Elmhurst History Museum. Thank you so much, Dan. I'm sorry, he didn't look at me. I didn't think. But, That's it, guys. I thank you all. Oh, my God. Guess what, Emily?
What?
I didn't put in the favorite track. So you say something really nice.
Well, am I doing the credits?
Just do something.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, so much for coming. Family, friends, people who drove from Peoria.
Yeah, go. Hey, shout out to Peoria.
P-town,
we love Peoria.
I got arrested there once. But thank you all.
How about this, Emily, as a statistic?
What?
Dan, you can put this on the wall. 50% of the Morrow children have been arrested in Peoria.
It's true. It's true. But we really want to thank the folks over at the Elmhurst History Museum, of course. Patrice, Dan, the folks over at E-Town Lowdown. Seriously, thank you so much. You guys have been a dream to work with. And this has just been so much fun. And we thank everyone for coming out. And it's just a dream come true, I tell you what.
We'll do this collectively. Yes. If you guys remember the sign off, I'm going to say thank you all for coming on over. And you guys know what we're going to say after that, right? Now get the hell out, right?
All right.
Okay, let's do it together. Make Elmhurst proud. I want to hear you on the mountaintops of Elmhurst, down York.
And
down
Roosevelt
York,
Road.
all up and down. Now, York and Roosevelt Road, where you always save more money. Thank you all for coming on over.
Now get the hell out.